All right, can you see? Hello?
Hello?
There you go. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah, I got a phone call came in. It dropped. I guess it dropped the Google Meets when I answered it.
Got it.
Oh man. Okay, what have we got here?
All
You
right.
know,
So, real quick, we're just gonna get right into it. So, real quick, what I was gonna do is, I don't know why it's so hard to put a structure together, man. A clear process. All right. So, before I start, I'm gonna just say that, we're gonna go through, like you said yesterday in the message. You said go through the first time frame analysis, larger patterns, and the zones and auto orders, and then that's when we start talking, I guess.
yeah, yeah, and whoever's, I mean, if you're running it today, you just ask for, any kind of feedback once I mean, once we get down to, the stuff that, somebody may have something they might want to input, but we all know the top stuff, so it's no sense in us interjecting or saying, "Oh yeah, yeah, I think," that just cutting into time. So,
Yeah.
run through the big stuff that we all see and all know, and then, if somebody has say, "Hey, I got it on the zones or the scenarios," then we can kind of spend a little bit of time talking about those.
Okay. All right. That's what I'll do. But the thing I noticed the most was that we were all over the place, and I don't know if that's natural and it's supposed to be like that. Like, should we be, you know, commingling everything together into one cohesive thing eventually, or should we keep it broken down specifically? I think like you said, the generalities need to be the time frame analysis, the larger pattern, and then looking at zones and where the automatic orders go, and then get into intraday scenarios and execution where we can have a lot more, back and forth.
Yeah, exactly,
So,
exactly. But the other stuff we can kind of run through so we don't be all over the place.
got
You
it.
know,
All right, got it.
we because if we're talking about larger time frame patterns, and then somebody else say, "Hey, I had a zone over here," and you know, what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It muddles it up a bit.
yeah. Well, let me show you this really quick. Can you see that chart?
Yes.
All right. So just one thing. This is a stock chart, but it's the Nasdaq. It's the QQQ,
Uh
and
huh.
this is a weekly chart. So just this bigger time frame stuff before we get into the actual stuff. But look at these tight consolidations over these past 2 weeks right here. You see this?
Yes.
So that's just, a heads up on this major contraction going on. So some move is coming eventually. Let's just hope it's to the upside.
Yes. Right.
And then if you
I'm
look at the Russell, Russell had a really tight contraction also. See this purple down here? This is the range of the average daily range. If it's orange, it's higher volatility, higher range. If it's pink or green, it's small range. So it's just basically saying there's a big major contraction going on right now.
yeah.
So we'll just keep that in mind in the back of our minds on the bigger picture. And the same thing with the S&P too on the weekly chart. If you look at the biggest time frame, this thing pulled all the way back to the 50% retrace right here, and then we've had this big multi-week bounce off that area. So we're looking for the continuation, hopefully. That was just something interesting that I saw. I was peeking around there
Oh
yesterday.
yeah. All of that stuff feeds into the larger time frame analysis.
Yeah. So as we get started here, and keeping that in the back of our minds, we know that this larger time frame stuff right here, as we talk about the time frame analysis, this bigger balance area here is really quite contracted relative to recent ranges. So, we're just seemingly, thrashing around here 60, 70, 80 point range days, but generally this whole week has been contracted. So there's some move brewing. And once we see a little intraday, shorter time frame contraction, kind of like we saw here, then we're going to be looking for some kind of a move out to shift the time frames. So right now, intermediate time frame would still be bullish, and the short time frame, I'm just going to call it neutral because we went all the way up and then we sat here for a minute, and then we came all the way down yesterday, and we're just in the middle of this range. So we don't have any directionality in play on the smaller time frame. So completely neutral. No time frame alignments to lean on. I'm not labeling the larger time frame bias as bullish. I'm just calling it neutral. It's not for or against any trades. So no analysis, no alignments to speak of right now. Okay.
Yep.
All right. And then as we look into the larger pattern, larger pattern is. let me just stop for a second, man, because I kind of had. Nah, never mind. There we go. All right, so the larger pattern right now is none. There's no larger pattern. I don't see anything that's putting pressure on the market one way or the other in terms of a pattern where there's people projecting one way or the other on the market. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
All right, so we're just neutral right now. There's, I mean, you could look at this leg down here, but that was just one day. So if you look on the larger the daily chart, there's really, I mean, what pattern do you have? You had this here, this pullback, this followed through, this continued, so that's done, and then we just pulled back, and we just pulled back into support. So, maybe you look at this leg down and start looking at pullbacks from that, as a smaller pattern, but there's really no larger pattern in play right now, other than the potential big, huge leg down and pullback, which could continue, but that's a big, 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 big pattern. Make sense?
Yep.
So,
Now, if I can add something right there on the larger time frame pattern. We're in a, based on what you was just saying about the contraction in all the markets, I would say, larger time frame, we're in a 6 or 7 day balance area. So larger time frame pattern wise, if we get a break one way or the other, larger time frame pattern is a multi-day balance breakout. And we want to be trying to kind of, get on board a kind of sense, when it's coming.
okay.
That's it.
So you're saying like to kind of get an idea of when that pattern is going to start playing out?
Yeah, I mean, if we start balancing at the top or balancing at the bottom of this range, and we get some these markets kind of synchronize at the top or the bottom, and then we come off of HVN, or all the
Yeah.
signs of, a potential breakout or breakdown. So that's what I'm saying. We can be on the lookout for that, because a multi-day balance breakout or breakdown is just a big pattern.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, exactly.
so yeah, we want to be ready whenever this thing this volatility kicks up and kicks up or out or down, either way.
Yeah, I agree, and I think we'll probably get a little more contraction, and then some kind of big move will come, because right now it's just really loose. It's all the way up, it's all the way down, and we don't really have any contraction like we had back here. And you see how this led to a big move, and then this pattern here, this pullback, and then this balance led to a continuation up to the highs. But then that's it. So as far as bias is concerned, there's really nothing putting any kind of pressure on the market. So we need to drill down closer to the intraday stuff.
Okay.
All right, so let's review the levels now. So I'm just keeping a little marker here to know levels and automatic orders. Because when I look back on the video, I had a hard time trying to remember where I was in the video.
Okay.
All right, so levels. These are my levels here. And basically, starting from the inside here, we have the overnight high, the overnight low. Let me just touch on the narrative really quick. So yesterday, we had the holiday session, obviously, and then we had the overnight session, which was somewhat bearish. And then we opened up and kind of barely touched this area, and it was looking really strong. But then it just kind of faded out, and it just died and went all the way down back to here, and kind of expanded the range to the downside, right? And that was one of the scenarios that we were looking at. Then we found buyers here at these last pullbacks where we expected buyers to be active. It was late in the day, and we popped up off of there, so the buyers actually did come in, balance, and then they came in more in the overnight session. So then they came back up into the breakdown area here, where we pulled back down in the overnight and have just been consolidating mostly in the middle to the bottom end of the half of the yesterday's range. So the levels that I have laid out for that is the overnight low area, which captures this overnight low and this swing low here. So this is one zone, and then the levels on the top here would be the overnight high. I just remembered I forgot to do the automatic order, so back to the levels. So the automatic orders are up here at this higher time frame, this bigger, larger time frame spot, and then down here I took this one out because I wasn't really sure if we should be trading this as a zero intraday analysis idea. Perhaps we should.
What's that? 37 to 47?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking about the same thing too.
I mean, because I'm looking at it on a on a larger daily chart, and it is visible, very visible. It's the top here, and it's the bottom of this consolidation before it went higher. So yeah, I guess it would be. It's the support here that broke down and acted as resist. It was a resistance that acted as support, and then it rocketed up off of that. So yeah, I'm gonna treat that as an overnight order, automatic order. And then of course this bigger area I'm still looking at down here.
I think the problem with that area is right now is that the problem with doing automatic with zero reading right now is we're so close to it. Like if we
Exactly.
flushed into it yesterday, then that would be cool. But we got buyers active at that the zone before it. Now we're kind of balancing around, and if we kind of we kind of peter around down into it, you might want to give it a little bit of intraday analysis.
Well, that's kind of the thing, right? Like, is it a larger time frame area, which requires no intraday analysis, right? We don't, unless it's very is little intraday, meaning that if it's a trend type, very clear where you're trying to get short into that area, then you need to skip it. So, I think this would be an automatic order, and you really don't want to overanalyze it intraday. It's just the relevance of the zone is enough of a reason to take it without analyzing anything intraday, other than the fact that this is very bearish and I want to get short heading into it. You know, I want to short it aggressively. So like if this came down here and then we balanced around here, and then we it was so bearish that we wanted to take a breakdown right in front of that zone. Like the intraday signs were so major, then we want to be short heading to it. Then we pull the automatic order and we're short heading into it, expecting it to break.
Okay.
But
Okay.
otherwise, this is no intraday analysis, and in 90% of cases, 99% of cases, you're going to just take it. And the only 1% is if you see major, massive, downside tick hitting extremes, AD is pegged, the markets are selling off, all that other shit. Then you pull the order and you're looking to get short. So I think it's an automatic order. I'm going to treat it like that anyway, and I'm not going to overanalyze it. And that's all I got. Then this bigger level down here, and then you got the bottom of the balance area here too, which you could probably say that is as well, because it's a bigger area. But I'm gonna skip this one here as an auto order. Okay, so I got 3 auto orders in. Very highs, this key level, the balance area lows, and beyond the balance area lows, because it's still I'm still calling this a pretty important area. But the problem is that if it does break down, you know, this actually won't be an automatic order. This will be an intraday read, because if we're breaking down here, you don't want to be getting long in front of
Yeah.
a intermediate time frame breakdown.
Yeah.
But
I,
it's
I
starting
agree.
from here and extending, so this could be an intraday long.
Yeah, I would say on that one, if we don't get any kind of response at the 12, 16 area, if we cut through that area, I'll definitely trade the next one as an automatic 94 to oh 06. I'll trade that one automatic. But if we get a response, bounce, 50, 20 points, and then come back down again, I'll probably get out the way. I don't know.
Yeah, I got you. But you'll be taking this automatically.
On the 16, I mean the
Yeah,
1250 to 16.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean again depends on kind of how we get there.
Well,
It depends on the other market.
hold on,
Oh
hold
yeah,
on,
oh yeah, okay, you
hold
got me,
on.
you got me. You busting me. My hands up. You bust me. You busting me.
Oh,
Damn,
hold
man. You
on.
ain't gonna let me? You ain't
So
gonna let me slide by?
there's no intraday analysis. We're doing automatic orders.
Automatic orders.
We're looking at the levels, right? We did our levels, and now we're looking at where's the big areas where we are just going to have an order resting there, and we're not going to think about it. It's just it's based off the fact that it is a larger time frame area, and that's it.
You're right.
And the only reason to not take it is if we are seeing those very clear intraday major excess massive reasons to not take it.
Yeah. Okay. I'm in right there then.
So that's an auto order.
Yeah.
This one here. So
Yes.
that's what I see anyway too. So and then this one is an intraday analysis type deal.
Yes. Yes. That's what I'm thinking too.
Okay, all right. So we'll move on. So now we got our auto orders are in and our levels are set. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to review our scenarios and execution. All right, and that took us about 10 minutes to do, so not bad. We could have tightened it up a little bit more, but not too bad. So now we do the inside out and we look at our levels now. So the overnight low kind of just got breached a little bit. Some selling just came in. You could maybe potentially say that this could have been, yesterday a pullback and continuation here, 50% in the overnight session, right? That's kind of what we got, a little pop into 50% and then a push lower. So we're going to keep an eye on that. And if we start losing this area here, we could start to, get down in here. But then this would be the pullback and continuation would be done here. So if the overnight low breaks, this could be lead to a bigger move down is what I'm trying to get at, because we have a pattern, a smaller time frame pattern of a pullback and continuation in play. So no larger pattern, but a smaller pattern that we do have in play. I missed that earlier. You see what I mean? So the larger patterns and the smaller patterns.
Yeah, I didn't catch that either. Because I generally try to get away from drawing fibs inside of balance areas. I've gotten in a lot of trouble with that before, but it's still helpful to kind of know what's going on the smaller time frame.
Yeah, you don't have to trade it. It's just more of a reference idea. Like, okay, yesterday we had a directional move down. We closed somewhat at the lows. And then we had a big pullback in the overnight session that went right to the 50% level and the breakdown area from yesterday. And then we have now a continuation lower. So, we didn't come up and take the 61% out and make our way back up here again. We held the 50% and we're coming down back again. So the larger pattern is nothing, and the smaller pattern in play is this directional move and the pullback. So we just got.
You know what it does? I noticed from yesterday. It gives you a kind of a glimpse or understanding of not kind of like who's winning or whose trades are succeeding. So like with the pullback yesterday, you were talking about like, hey, okay, now we're getting a pullback. A lot of inexperienced traders are going to take this because of the open drive.
Exactly.
Guess what? When it fails, now we know whose trades are winning, whose trades are losing,
exactly.
And that fed into the day. Once that pattern failed, that fed into the day. So
exactly, and that's the idea. Is there more references? So I mean, if you want to take a trade there, you could to play the smaller pattern, but you don't have to.
Yeah.
But the idea is like, we held the 50% perfectly, and then came off balance, and now we're breaking down again. So here we are breaking down out of this balance area right here. So all right, let's do the scenarios and execution, and we're going to be looking at doing the inside out. And so we'll start, since we're talking about the pullback pattern, we'll start with the downside first. And the first level I had there was the overnight low and the previous day close. And if we I mean, it's kind of pointless now because it's already breaking, but the idea is on the intraday, as we start reading it, if we push down in here and we see at the gap maybe a disconnect or a lack of downside momentum where the tick is barely pushing maybe minus 1 200 300, we're seeing a lack of downside, then that would set up a long here to play the bounce off this overnight. So I'll be looking for longs here, and I will only be doing that not as a quality spot to take it, but more so as a intraday read, and then looking for additional reasons to take it. Okay. So definitely not resting order sitting there waiting to get filled. It's not one of those quality spots. I need a little intraday clarity to get me into that. I need to see, like we're seeing right now. We'll go to a 5-minute chart. We're seeing this little exhaustive move down into that area. That would have been ideal if this was the open here, taking this here. It would be an open drive, but if we had additional reasons to take it, it's okay trade location, and it kind of supported by the overnight up move. And this is the hard part where you got to think through all these things. So if we come down here, we definitely don't want to be aggressive and take 74, but we take more of the back of the zone and put a stop a little bit beyond, then that would have been ideal to take that for a bounce. But unfortunately, it's already happening right now, and we don't have any intraday things to lean on. So we're just gonna have to let this manifest anyway.
I just pulled my zone down, just to tell you though. I just pulled my zone down to that low because that may have been nothing.
Yeah, it didn't breach. It just pushed into it and tested it perfectly. I mean, look, the overnight low is here, and it went right through. It went through by a point or two, and then it's reversing now. So that would have been an awesome long trade intraday.
Yeah. So I just pulled mine down to the new low.
Yeah, me too. Okay, so if this area breaks, let me go to a little higher time frame, a 15-minute chart. So if this area breaks, it would be intraday bearish in my book, because we'd be trapping all these longs here, and we'd be taking out the overnight low, and it could push down into previous day low here, which is also these swing lows and the reasons that we had that resistance, that support there earlier. So on a push down into here, we would be breaking down out of overnight, so we'd have to be a little more cautious, and that's why I shifted the zone down a little bit. Yesterday it was much higher, and I shifted it down because I want my stop to be behind this area here, right? So
What's that number?
56.
6. I have mine at, yeah, I have mine at 55.75. Good.
Yeah, so stop around 55, and then long around 60, 62, something like that, right? If we break down.
My high on that one right now is 61.50.
Got it. Yeah, right about the same. And
Yeah.
so getting long there, if we see lack of major downside weakness, because we're in a neutral market, right? So we could bounce and turn. So if we're not seeing intraday directionality, like major intraday directionality, then exhausted into this area would be enough of a reason to take it, right? So there's two trades. This one here, if we break this area here, then we're coming down to that auto order area. So I'm just gonna have an order sitting there, probably right at the front of the zone, even though it's a pretty wide zone, but just beyond, stop just beyond there, and I'll just be taking this, and there's plenty of room to scale out for a reversal here. So I'd be looking for a reversal off of 41. And again, that's as long as there's no major excess, super excess weakness, like trend down, like liquidation, like here it comes, it's going type stuff.
Gotcha.
So my order is going to be sitting here, and intraday read on those there. Okay.
And beyond that, automatic order, what are you doing? 16, 12, 50,
This is
16, 50?
same thing, intraday read. If this area goes, this is more of a bigger bearish confirmation on the larger time frame. But if it comes down into here, my guess is going to be that it's probably more of a liquidation type looking move, and I probably won't want to get in front of it until down here. And this would be the range extreme on the day. Well, not the range extreme, but the average range for a 24-hour session would be here and here.
90, yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
So that's that. All right, upside. Now, if this area holds, then that would be a sign of some continued stability, and we can get a push back up into the overnight high. I'm not really looking at this 83 area here, because if this area holds and we push back up there, I would expect this is really the more key area. So an intraday bullish shift would be above 92. Okay.
Yep.
So if we push up into 92, which is previous day's breakdown area as well as the overnight session high, then I would be shorting that as long as I'm not seeing crazy excess weakness, because we could just hit this and then come down again, and play out this shorter time frame pattern also. So I don't see this as a reason to skip this area here.
What are you saying again? You said you would be
I'm going to be shorting this area here.
that 89 to 93 ish area, that overnight high area.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's an automatic. No.
No,
What would you need? What would you need? I know it's not automatic. What would you need to see to skip it?
Well, I'm calling it like a quality area only because it's structurally important, right? Because if we take out this 50% here and the overnight high, which is basically the pullback from yesterday, then it would be showing signs of strength, right? And it would be a shift in the underlying bias. It would be shifting to intraday bullish. So, but if it holds, then it could also, come back down and complete this pattern and get down into here. So, I'll be shorting this as long as I don't see, like, let's say an open drive. If we see, like we saw yesterday, a big strong open drive heading into that, then I would be more inclined to just go in the back of the zone and put a wider stop on it. What I'm saying is I don't see a reason to skip shorting it unless there's very clear reasons.
I'm saying, what are your reasons to skip? Let's get them clear right now.
Well, it would be an open drive, and hopefully we have time for the internals to settle out, and we see some really strong tick pushing, we would need to see, we're going to be in the middle of the range, so we're not going to really need to see like very strong initiative buying activity.
No, because yeah, we're not pushing through no important levels. Now we're going to be say we come up to the 83 area again, break the mid VWAP, come in and post up there for a little while. We're just going to be a little bit above the close. So, we'll definitely have to pay close attention to, the AD and the internals because we're not that far off the close. So if you see something, we're only, what's that close? The 70 something area and we're at 83. Oh, we open at 83 or so. See if you've seen like a strong AD,
Okay.
with only 10 points difference between the close. That's nothing. Would that be a reason to skip or like a tick holding above, 200, 300 holding?
No, and the thing is that no, it wouldn't be because there's nothing else. It would just be one piece of information. The AD would just be one that I don't want to overweigh the AD. So if we're looking at price action and structure, more importantly, if the price action is showing super bullish intraday, like we get a strong open drive, like let's say we open here. The problem is it depends on where we open to. So if we open down here in the next hour, then that's not a very that would be more better to short this because by the time we got up there we'd be exhausted.
Yeah,
So
that's what I'm thinking.
yeah, so if we did get an open drive, if we open down here and then we get an open drive and we get a push up and we start pushing up into this area here, and the tick is showing some momentum, and I'm not really worried about the AD, but we don't have anything. I guess what I'm trying to say is there's nothing putting pressure on the market right now because everything is so neutral. So we got to weigh what we have to weigh intraday more heavily, right? So if we have an open drive and strong ticks, then that would be a reason to skip it or at least get the very back of the zone for better trade location, because we're neutral right now. Like even though we have intraday signs that are showing strength, we could even pop right up into that and then turn around and fade and go right back down again. So there's no reason to skip it.
Is it that quality of it? I mean, what's making it so that quality area to you? Tell me the ingredients for this quality area.
Um, I guess it's just these previous swings over here, and it was the breakout spot, and it was a breakdown spot yesterday, and it was the overnight high. So it's a decent area. It's not like it's just the overnight high. It's previous day breakdown area. It was the last pullback from yesterday. It was the breakout bar from Tuesday last week. It was very relevant resistance here for several days, and then we broke above it.
Almost like a flip flop area.
It's like a flip flop area in the making. Exactly. It was resistance, 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 breakout, support, support,
Gotcha.
support, breakdown, resistance, resistance.
I got you. That makes it make more sense to me.
Yeah.
Because I'm
So
just looking at. I hadn't looked all the way back. I'm just looking at yesterday and the overnight high, and I'm trying to figure out why is it such an important area. But when you went back, I can see it now. Thank you.
yeah, you can see it here.
Yeah.
It's a. I don't want to say it's not a larger time frame area. It's a decent area of resistance.
Yeah, I got you. I just needed to see what you were seeing. That's all.
Got it. All right, cool. So that's what I'm saying. Even if we get an open drive and the open drive starts from here and we're exhausted into it, I want to just take it anyway.
Got
You
you.
know?
Because the meltdown from there can be nice.
Yeah. If this does boom,
that's-
just touch like yesterday. Look, this thing drove
Yeah.
right up there. It just touched it and it was the high of day.
Yeah. If we melt down from 90, we can easily get down in the damn that 40. That's a nice 50 point move.
Yeah. Like if we hold here,
Yeah.
right? Even if it's some small intraday bullish signs like an open drive or an AD looks a little bullish, whatever. I don't want to overread the AD and say, oh no, I'm not taking that, because the trade location and the quality of the area is enough of a reason, especially if we're exhausted into it. I don't want to overweigh the tick and the AD and end up skipping it.
I got you.
I need to see something super excessive to skip it.
Like you said, we can just get into the zone and make sure we get a scale before the mid VWAP get hit again.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
And then it's good for at least a scale because we can at least react off it.
Yeah.
So we can at least react off it, and then this ends up rolling over again. Then we can hit yesterday's low, and then even get down into here and expand the range to the downside. It could end up being the high of day.
It can.
So that's
I agree.
kind of the idea with this area here. Then if we break out, I take the stop, that's fine, but I need to see some really strong bullish reasons to take pullbacks to get long, because we're only intraday bullish above this area, and we still got to contend with this area right here, which is Wednesday's lows, and it was the pullback, last pullback here before we broke down yesterday. So this is another area. It's not a major area, but it's okay. It's decent resistance within this balance area. But
What do you have over there? Because I didn't even put a zone. I kind of put a couple of resistance lines. I didn't want to make a real wide zone because I had like that last pop up into the mid VWAP yesterday at '04, and then I had like the break, that last pop up at 12. What do you got for a zone over there?
yeah, I'm not looking at the 12. I'm looking at more of this here. If you can see my chart, we
Okay.
popped up and then we reacted down, balance, and then we had popped off that news, and then we broke down, pulled back, and then followed through on the breakdown. So this pullback here at '04, and this
Four.
one here
Yeah,
at
I got that.
99,
So 99 to basically,
'05.
okay, 99 to 6 or 5 or something like
Yeah,
that.
exactly. And then if you scroll back, it was Wednesday's lows as well. So, one thing to keep in mind is that the overnight session is one thing, but then what happens on RTH is another thing. So if you look at an RTH chart here, here's those swings right here. See those swings? Right? Here's that swing at '04. Here's the last swing at a 99, and they're perfectly lined up with Wednesday's low. So they're relevant. And look how they acted intraday. Support, breakdown, resistance, resistance, and then it went lower. So this is one of those RTH flip-flop areas here. It's a small level. It's not a major zone by any means, but the point that I'm trying to make is that it was respected and reacted to.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
got you.
So that's what creates that zone here.
Okay, so there you're doing an we're doing an intraday read there because we'll be them broke out above the the overnight high area 93. So there we got to kind of see something.
Yeah, and this is important as well. When like Awais labels his zones, we got to get really good at understanding where these bias shifting and affecting areas are.
True.
All right, and that's something that we need to highlight on our plans. And and I do over here on the right. You can see where I label them: intraday bullish confirmation, intraday bullish, intraday bullish. So if we break the overnight high, we're going to be bullish intraday, right? Because we're going to be failing this smaller pattern, and we're going to be breaking out above there. But then, if you notice, I'm calling this area intraday bullish as well, and then the confirmation comes up here. That's how I'm labeling it, and then I'll usually adjust it a little bit when I see a Oasis trade sheet. That's what I really look at mostly, and I'd like to see what he labels as the areas that shift the bias. So this is a bias shifting area. This is a bias shifting area, and then this is a bias confirming area.
Gotcha.
So if we take out yesterday's high, we're going to be confirming the bullishness. So this is a important area to short. And if you look at the downside, this is an intraday bearish shifting area. So if we take this out, we got all these trapped longs from the overnight session. We're intraday bearish. If we take out yesterday's low, that's a bearish confirmation. So below yesterday's low, we're intraday bearish, and above yesterday's high, we're intraday bullish, confirmed.
Gotcha.
But if you zoom in, below overnight low is intraday bearish, and above overnight high and above that '04 area is intraday bullish, and then the confirming area.
And we got and then we'll have the regular larger time frame bearish and bullish confirmations.
That's up here.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And then the 37 to 47, we break that, then we'll be bearish.
Exactly. And that's why I highlight those in white.
Yeah, we'll be straight up bearish.
Exactly. Yeah. So if we take this out, this is This is intermediate time frame or shorter time frame bearish. If we take this out, this is shorter time frame bearish for sure. This is a larger time frame bearish, confirming or affecting zone.
Yes, and then the confirmation will probably be a little lower at the 1250 to 16.
Well, I'm actually calling this one a confirming area as well, but because we'll be bearish heading into it. But if we take this out, we're confirming bearish on the smaller time frame. And then if we take this out down here, we're bearish on the intermediate time frame.
Gotcha.
See what I mean? And then on the upside. So I think that's one really key important thing that we need to add into our it could be during our levels and auto order, or probably more relevant to the scenarios, because the levels for the auto order only apply to really auto order levels, which are larger time frame areas in nature. But what we're doing is we're talking about execution here intraday, and we want to understand, okay, where do things start to shift intraday for us? You know,
because that's going to affect execution.
exactly,
We're not gonna go, get a bullish confirmation and then short a little minor zone right above that.
exactly.
No.
So
Yeah, I got
where does the bias shift intraday? That's what we want to know.
yeah, I got you. I did that one day on my charts. I got to get used to doing it again.
You should, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I did it one day. I had typed the little levels, typed the names in and everything. So I'm going to start doing that too, especially with those bias shifting areas.
Yeah,
So
think about it. By not doing it, how do you understand where things shift, especially in a neutral market? You know, and Awais does it because he's using the levels to read the bias intraday. So, and if you think about that, okay, well, if you're identifying an area as something that could shift the bias, that means that, take for example the overnight high. If we break out above that, that would be a bullish indication. But if we hold that, it would keep
be a
us.
sign of continued weakness or something like that.
It could. Well, that would be a bull bear zone. So there's no bull bear zones on here right now. But yes, if we, say we had a different type of structure in play, but yes, that would be a bull bear zone, and that would be an automatic order. So if we take out the overnight high, we could see things go more bullish. If we hold the overnight high, then we could see things go down and be bearish. So we don't have any bull bear zones, but that's exactly what a bull bear zone is. You know.
I got you.
But getting really good at identifying those would be really helpful in understanding. It's kind of like a map. It's like you can't just get in a car and just start driving and say, oh man, when am I in another state, or when did I hit this county, or when did I hit this city? You just kind of you don't just blindly drive around. Well, you could, but it's kind of difficult. But imagine you had a map and you said, okay, look, I got to go here, and once I cross this street, then I'll be in this town. And once I cross that street, then I'll be in that town. Or once I cross this area here, I'll be in that state.
I got
It's
you.
the same thing. So we're using the levels as a map and indicators to let us know where we are in terms of where the bias is. So if we take out the overnight high, it would be a very bullish indication intraday, not on the smaller time frame or the intermediate time frame, but on today, right now. And we want to be cautious, fading against that. But if we take out yesterday's swings, 04, 05, that would be bullish, right? So it could set up shorts there. But if we take out these confirming areas, then we're definitely bullish intraday. And that's the idea. Break and hold above yesterday's high, we'd be intraday bullish confirmation. But we know that if we head into that area, it's a stronger area because it's more important for reading the map. So you could fade that area. And that's what we do. We're fading the shit. So that's really it, man. It's really neutral, and we're just determining whether or not we're going to get in front of any moves based on the intraday action.
Gotcha. I'm just typing up. I got quiet because I never type. I ain't typing a damn plan. I'm typing it up.
No problem. Take your time.
What's it? Hey, balance area. I can type and think at the same, talk at the same time. I'm seeing that. Okay, I got you. That's in. Okay, above that, we didn't go any further above that.
Where?
So you got the 99 to 04 area. That's going to be pretty much an intraday read, even though a break of it would give some confirmation. So
Yeah.
That's not automatic short. That's a wait and see what's going on.
I don't know. Like that's why I want to see how Rodman does his stuff and how he breaks that down in detail. Because it's like, okay, we get a bar here. What is he doing? Is he saying, okay, we open here, we get a strong move up, and we see a lack of tick, and all the other stuff that we already say. I'm gonna short this area here because this would be a short. There's no reason to skip this. And then if we break out, do you want to short this here? Well, what do you need to see to not short it? We need to see excess strength, meaning that tick is pushing, 600, 700, 800.
And something we want to be mindful of is, because you just pointed it out, failures of the smaller time frame patterns. So right now you're dealing with a potential PBC. We're pushing down. So, but a failure of that would be the pop of the 61.8, which is kind of sitting in between those two zones.
Yeah, is that where it is?
So if you just from an execution standpoint, If we short it maybe like, a little bit above the overnight high with the stop kind of into that next area, like maybe, shorting 92-ish, 90, 91, 92 with the stop up, a little bit above those last little swing highs, maybe at '01 or something, then that would kind of encapsulate all that. And if that failed, then we know, the smaller time frame pattern has failed and, the buyers are here.
Yeah.
So that can kind of inform us, as to how we execute.
Yeah, if that's a way that you want to execute it, then yeah, I mean that would be a super conservative way, I think to do
Yeah.
it because you'd have to a big wide stop way above the
Yeah,
overnight
no.
high. Would you be better off assuming that, well, let me get in at the front of the zone and put my stop here, at 92, and then if it breaks above that, then I know it's invalidated, and then I don't want to trade again until I get to 99 and then have another stop there. But that's just the execution part of it.
Yeah, that's just it. Yeah, and I find myself being conservative, but I prefer a wider stop. It just personally, I prefer to get my stop somewhere I know if it gets hit, I don't even have to think about it anymore. I know,
Yeah,
I was wrong.
yeah,
I'm
because it's such a
wrong,
wide
damn
ass
it.
stop. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, 90, that's a 10-point stop, but the potential to the downside is there because if I short 91, stop '01, 10-point stop, you automatically need about a 30, 40-point move, but you can get that from 91 easily.
you could.
If we break down from there, easily we can go into 47, easy.
Yep, you could. So anyway, that would just be the execution part of it. But I don't, like I said, off the open here, it just depends on where we open. And right now it looks like we're breaking down again. But making new lows on the overnight session. So things are more bearish from yesterday. The overnight was a nice pullback into 50%, and then we're continuing lower now. So I guess the more relative scenario would be, what are we going to do here off the open?
Right? What are we doing at the 60?
Yeah.
Yesterday's lows. What are you doing there? Are we taking it?
Yeah, well,
Or do
you
we
would
need
need to see the excess weakness. We would need to see initiative sellers active here. We need to see ticks holding below zero, pushing down.
And that's going to be significant because, once again, if we open anywhere near that 60 area, we're still not far off from the close. So I would pay close attention to the internals because when you're so close to the previous day's close, a big skew or a divergence in the internals can tell you a lot.
Well, that's what we'd be looking for there. So yeah,
Yeah. So
if we
if I
see
see,
that,
yeah.
it just looks so
So
scary to take that, right? It's like down, and then a pullback, and then a continuation. It's like, well,
hell
this is
yeah.
just gonna keep going down to here. Like, yeah, I don't want to take that because it's just gonna keep going.
Hey, you may be saved from taking it because it looked like it's damn near about to hit it in 15 minutes here.
Yeah,
So,
well, we'll see. I mean, I won't take it until the open because it's not one of those levels that I'd be wanting to just get in, you know, without any intraday things.
yeah, no, I would rather if it hits before the open, I'll pass to and I'll wait on the 37 to 47 area. I'd rather put my money down there right now.
Or just get in right here too.
Where
Take the long right here, man. Don't be afraid. Just get in.
just jump in.
Well, again, it's not one of those major areas either where you're gonna really be. Where you know what I mean? It's not an area where you just want to lean on the area itself. I don't think.
No, because all it was a pullback into the HBN VWAP like 2 or 3 days ago. It's not. Shoot, Anderson dead in the middle of the range. It's not nothing
Yeah.
big.
So initial support, I think Oasis is going to call yesterday's low initial support, and I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
the 4,000 area is going to call initial resistance.
4,000.
I think so. Yeah.
It's kind of high.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I
probably.
mean,
Yeah, probably.
because if you notice wherever he puts his initial support and resistance areas, it's always at an area that will tend to have some kind of impact on the day time frame.
Yes, and that will have an impact. If we break the 4,000 area, then we know we're intraday bullish.
Yeah. Do you think he'll have it at the overnight high? I mean, I don't
I
know.
don't know. I'm trying to figure it out now. I'm
He
trying
might.
to look
Yeah.
at it and think. Yeah, he might because that's the breakdown. That's actually more. That's actually the flip flop area. That's the breakdown area. That's the overnight high. So that has some significance. If we break that, we're right. If we break that on strong momentum, that 4,000 area ain't gonna hold. it ain't.
Yeah,
It's not gonna stand up.
I'm gonna highlight mine and see what his look like, just for the fun of
Okay.
it. All right, buddy, go ahead and finish up your stuff, man. I'll catch you in the
All
chat.
right. Let me knock it up. Jump in the mobile.